Welcome to the Nice Hair Podcast. I'm Hannah.
I'm Haley.
This is a weekly podcast where we talk about business building,
Some hair, some social media,
and our lives.
and how it all ties back to hair.
Always about hair.
But not always.
Sometimes hair.
Sometimes we're nice. Looks like an R. It looks like 3R, but it's 32.
Aw.
Bam. Action.
Action.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, welcome to episode 32.
We're back again.
We're back. We're still here.
Yeah. We're batch recording, which makes
Everything easier.
way easier.
You don't know how to do a podcast until you start doing a podcast.
Yeah, and then you just have to figure it out as you go, and then you kind of make some things up, and you just see what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
We found that if you get sick, or if your kid gets sick on the day you're recording a podcast,
Then you're fucked.
yeah, it doesn't work, and you can't record, so then you get behind. So we learned that valuable lesson.
So now we just record a lot all at once.
Yeah, so here we are again.
Okay, do you want to talk about, we've already kind of talked about assistance a little bit in a previous episode, but Haley and I have both been asked
A couple different times.
recently, how we found our assistants
Yeah.
and how to find an assistant that is a good fit for you, which I think is such a valuable thing to have.
I agree.
Harder than you would think to find.
So I think it's actually a lot like finding your ideal client,
I agree.
if I'm being honest. I personally, for both of my assistants, used Instagram to reach out and find them. You really need to know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's pull it back. When do you know, like I've had people ask me before, like, is it worth having an assistant? When did you know you needed an assistant? Like that kind of stuff. I think that, you know when you just start working too late or you feel like your pricing is fair and is at a good place, but you feel like you still are just running around like a crazy person while you're at work.
I also think when you are just bone tired at the end of your day, when you don't think you have time to pee or to eat, or
Sometimes I still don't have time to pee or eat, and I have an assistant.
Honestly, same. No, actually, I do. I like
feel
how
like
we scheduled.
that.
Yeah. But I think, to me, it's almost when work is overwhelming. When you walk into work feeling overwhelmed, I would say it's probably, but you're happy with how busy you are. It's time. It's time.
I think that you reach a capacity for doing all the things. And Haley and I are both independent stylists who either rent space or like I have my own studio suite. Haley has her own like a really nice setup in a salon. But I think when you're doing everything yourself, essentially, you just reach a point where you're like busy enough to where work becomes your life. And like, you will know when someone in your life, whether it's like your husband or your sister or your kid or whatever, just like looks at you one day and is like, are you going to like engage in real life? Or are you just going to like get on your phone and work all the time and then go to work and work all the time? And that's how it kind of clicked for me. I was like, I'm doing everything and so much. And like, I don't have to be doing this. And the time that I'm spending, whether it's like scheduling or answering emails or ordering inventory, like that time it's not me doing that is not worth my time. Like I need to be like engaging in my own life. And absolutely I can pay someone $10, $12, $15 an hour to help me do that.
Everyone that I talk to who is worried about bringing an assistant on, that's one of the things. I don't know if I can afford one. I understand that, but
yes,
can you afford not to have one?
Can you afford Starbucks every day? Like,
yeah,
yes,
when you
absolutely
really
you can
are
afford
thinking about it and breaking it down, paying somebody 10, 12, whatever your number is, dollars an hour, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It is so
you can't afford it.
worth it. Yeah. So,
And it's another reason too, when you get an assistant, your clients look at you different. I mean, I've had people say to me, like, I knew you were legit and you were good at your job because you had a full-time assistant. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm good at my job, but it does mean that I take myself and my business serious enough to be busy enough to need an assistant. So I guess it does kind of speak to something,
yeah.
But I think clients see
I
a
also
stylist
think
with a
that's
full-time
why
assistant.
I think that's why people, I think they use their clients as an excuse not to get an assistant, though. My clients
Right.
won't like
No.
my assistant. My
No,
clients
your
won't.
clients will love your assistant.
It's how you introduce your assistant, you
Yeah.
guys. Like,
My clients are obsessed. They're like, Kelby's like literally the best. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know, she's so sweet. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
for me, like you introduce them slowly. They're not working on the clients the first time they're meeting them.
Right.
Not at all. You know what I mean? You work into it. You ease into it. You let them do your shampoos. You let them do your blowouts. Like, so, and when you're comfortable with your assistant, your clients are going to be comfortable. Like,
And also, your clients don't think about it that much. Like, we get more in our head about it than anything. If I'm going to a stylist or to any service where I'm used to seeing someone, even my doctor, I go to my doctor sometimes and he may have someone shadowing him for the day.
Yeah.
I never think twice about that because I get it. And I think our clients get and understand too
totally.
our growth and we're just business people. And if you need help, you need help.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's so much a client thing. I think it's in our head more than anything that like.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm saying that people use their clients, that like they use that excuse.
I gotcha.
So.
Yeah. As an excuse. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, and I didn't even know, honestly, I thought I needed an assistant, but I didn't. I was one of those people that was like, well, how do I know? Like, when will I know? And then I finally realized, like, I don't think I'll ever know. I think I should just try it. And if it's beneficial, then I'll keep her around. And if it's not, then maybe I'll have her one day a week with me. You know, like with an assistant, you don't have to have them full time either. You can have somebody with you 2 days a week.
Yeah. That's how I started with an assistant. I wasn't taking extension clients only. I was still doing color. But I had days that I would take extension clients. So she would just come on the days where I was doing extensions. And that was great. It was just nice having an extra set of hands. So it just took that weight off. And then as I started to get busier with extensions, I started adding on days and I started increasing her days until it was full time. So it was very, very gradual. I didn't know if it was going to work. It was so scary thinking that I was going to be responsible for if somebody could pay their bills. But you have to look at it not only what they are doing for you in your business, but what you're doing for them in their career. If you've ever been an assistant, you remember so clearly what that experience was like for you. It shaped part of who you are as a stylist, for sure.
And there's people who will do assistant type work as interns for free.
Absolutely.
So honestly, I think we forget when we are full-time business owners how transformative and what a wonderful opportunity it is to be an assistant to a full-time small business owner.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's also different than working in a big box salon where, as a stylist, you're a number. And I know not every big salon is like that, but a lot of them are. That's something that stylists have said, that clients have said, but you get a different type of personalized hands-on training, I think, as well. And I'm not discrediting any of those big, I think, there's a place for everybody, but
being in a small, intimate atmosphere with you, like someone like you or I, is definitely different than being, an assistant at like 901, or whatever.
So I think first of all, if you know it's time for an assistant, even if going down the road it's going to be time, it doesn't hurt to start looking now. For me, I had a list of things that I put on social media in a post. There were some basic, super basic, silly directions that I left.
What were like your credentials?
Well, obviously you had to have a license in the state of Ohio.
Oh yeah, I guess we got to be clear about that.
You actually do, which is shocking. I had multiple people reaching out. Do I have to have a license? You need flexible hours because my schedule at the time was really inconsistent. I, would work 5 days one week, 3 days another. So flexible schedule. I think I needed night and weekend availability at the time, where now that's not the case. And then I, put like the kind of personality you're looking for. For me, it was like, I want somebody that this is not just, they're not just doing hair. This is their career choice. They want to continue on. They're not just here because they have no other option, or they have no, you know what I mean? Like I wanted somebody that takes this very seriously. I wanted somebody that was interested in working with extensions. And two of the things that I said that I stuck by, I said, do not send me a message about this. Don't even reach out. Don't ask me a question. Don't ask how much. Like, we'll talk about all that. I wanted a 2 to 3 minute video sent to my email explaining why you thought you would be a good fit for this job. If I'm being 100% honest, it had nothing to do with the video. It had every bit to do with if you can follow basic instructions on an Instagram post. If somebody sent me a DM, they could send me the best video I've ever gotten, and I still wasn't considering them because they didn't do as I asked.
Because they disregarded like the beginning level.
Absolutely.
So what happens when I ask you to mix up a 7N and a 7G and you're just not listening?
Yeah.
You can't follow basic instructions, so I can't trust you with basic instructions.
Absolutely. Videos are super, super uncomfortable. I'm aware of that. I know you're going to be awkward. I don't expect you to have a really good video. I expect you to stumble over your words and think you're weird. But I also, the fact that you're just willing to do it says so much. And we're super active on social media at work. I need somebody that's going to be comfortable with that. If you're running away from the camera every time it turns on you, nope, that's not going to work for me. Excuse me. It really had less to do with somebody's personality. I don't care if you're outgoing. I don't care if you're quiet, but if I click with you, I need to be able to work really, really well with you. So from there, I would hop on a phone interview, and I basically started with, what are your goals? Like, I want to know, what are your goals in 5 years, in 10 years? What are you looking for in this career? Are you somebody, do you want to be an employee? Do you want to just be able to go into work at a salon and then leave at the end of the day and that's it? Are you eventually working towards being a booth runner? Do you want to specialize in extensions? Do you want to specialize in cutting? Do you want to do a blend? Do you want to be able to offer everything? Like, what are you looking for?
Or at least interested in. A lot of times I think when we're starting out, we don't know those answers. At least I didn't. But yeah, at least get an idea for what their passion is within the industry.
Absolutely. So,
Haley, I ate that salad and I can like taste the dressing. If I'm breathing on you, tell me.
Same. And my belly's a little bit upset, but it's been getting upset every time I eat something. So I don't know if
I'm sorry. I was just like, I feel like if I'm like breathing on you, just tell me.
I am smelling my own dressing, so it's fine.
Okay.
So I lost my train.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was so rude. You're making a video, and what are their goals? I was saying I didn't know what my goals were, but just to have a passion, like what are you super passionate about within hair?
But I do think though, when you're sitting down asking somebody, like, I would say most stylists get into doing hair because they think they want the flexibility of being their own boss. Now, do they actually know what all that entails? No. But if that's one of their end goals, I'm like, okay, I know in my head when I interviewed Lauren, my assistant now, I eventually want to be a booth runner. Cool. Because I know her intent is not to work for me forever. I don't want somebody that is their intent.
Right.
I want somebody that has that drive and that push to do their own thing. I click really well with those kind of people.
I think we need people like that around us too, because number one, I think Haley and I are very protective about the energy we keep around us at this point. So if you're not like extremely motivated or at least willing and hungry to learn, then it's draining to us.
Agree.
It's draining to someone who has a very forward moving, like goal-minded like mindset. It really,
Absolutely.
it really sets people back. So I think we're very protective about our energy at this point and very aware of where we are and what we need around us. So I think it's not so much that you have to necessarily know your goals or know every single thing you want to do, but you have to be hungry and willing to like shoot for the stars, you know?
Yeah. And I think that was something because I knew I just needed help for me.
I didn't know I needed help until I got help. And then I was like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Yeah. Like you absolutely, you need it. But I knew that I wanted somebody who I would be able to coach, but who I also wasn't babysitting and going to have to, like build their clientele for them. Not interested in that. I don't want to open a big salon someday. I have no desire to have a bunch of people working under me. And if that's something that you do, that's fine. That's just, that's not ever been my vision. And I didn't really understand why until the last, I would say, couple of months. But that was just always something that I was like, I've never been somebody I feel like I want to have employees. Like that's just not my, and I really feel one of the things that I realized that I'm good at, I'm really good at letting go of control. So I'm going to show you what I need from you. Yeah. I'm going to teach you, and then I'm going to let you fly. And then you make it your own from there. You grow what I've taught you and you make it better. And that is something that both of my assistants excelled in. They were both amazing at doing that. And so for me, I think it was just a combination of needing to see what their goals were and making sure that it aligned with me. I couldn't paint this clear picture of, okay, you're going to assist me in this way for 3 months, and then it's going to move into this way in 6 months, and then in 9 months you'll be doing this, and then in a year you'll be doing this, and then in a year and 3 months you'll have your own chair.
And Haley and I have worked with stylists or have known stylists too who have a very structured layout of like how that progresses.
Yes,
and that works
fine,
for them.
And that's great, but that's not me. Mine is partially because of the space that I'm in. It's limited. We have a limited number of chairs. We have a limited number of people that can work. So I just had to paint this picture though of this is what I'm looking for. I know the direction that I'm going. I just need you to trust along the way that I'm bringing you with me and I'm not leaving you behind, and I'm going to help blossom you into where you want to go as well.
But you have to know that for you.
I just don't have this clear, structured timeline of what exactly that looks like. And it was just a very super upfront conversation for both of us. There were no gray areas, no lines, because already going into it, I know eventually that my girls are going to be working for themselves. So when they come to me and say, hey, I think it's time to go out on my own and to rent my own space, I'm not pissed. I don't have resentment built up because that's been the goal the entire time. And guess what? I'm going to hug both of them and I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of everything that you've done. I'm so proud of where you've come from. How can I help this next part for you go smoothly?
And that's the expectation that you set because you understood what you wanted. That's awesome.
Yeah. And obviously yours isn't going to look like mine, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's is going to look different, but you have to be clear with what you want and you have to be sure to communicate that.
And I think communication is just the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Like even with me, so the assistant Kelby who I have now, she was her sister was friends with one of my clients essentially. So my client was like, hey, there's this girl, she has her cause license and she's kind of looking to get like a little more exposure into hair and everything. Anyways, interviewed Kelby. She was awesome, super sweet. I didn't care at all about her skills. I just knew I could spend time with her and we would get along. And I wasn't super clear. We talked about goals quite a bit. She had always told me she wanted to open her own salon. She was young, so I was like, that could definitely be something in her future. But then I wasn't super structured about touching back in with goals until I realized, okay, it's probably about a year after we'd been together. And I realized like, there's no trajectory for us. And like, I don't like that. I don't like not at least looking into the future and seeing like, what are we going to do? And it was not that we hadn't done that as individuals. It's just, we hadn't sat down and done that before. And I think it's totally fine to get to that place as long as you realize like, time out, we need to sit down. We need to have,
a conversation.
Yeah, we need to have a conversation about this. So I, let her know, like, this is what I want you to think about if you need to prepare for ahead of time. Like, what are your 6-month goals? What are your 1-year goals? I need details. I want specifics. I want like a timeline. And when we met, it was so nice because we knew what to expect from each other. And it was almost like not like a second interview, but it was almost just like a touching base type of meeting where I'm like, hey, what are you expecting out of the next, you've been with me for a year and a half now. Like, what are you expecting out of the next 6 months to a year? Because this is what I'm expecting and I need us to know.
Right.
And so that's when we were able to be like, okay, in the next, 6 months to a year, she will transition out, taking her own clientele. I will have someone else come in that she will help me train if she's still with me. She knows in her mind to start looking for someplace that she might fit into, whether that's a salon suite, if that's a salon, if she wants to talk to me about like partnering and doing like a double suite, like she knows her options.
Right.
And that was just such a relief for both of us too, because then, I don't think it's ever too late.
No.
And there was nothing wrong with, it was just, you just go along doing your everyday stuff for so long. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh,
9
crap.
months has passed.
Yeah. And I'm
at?
like, at this point I would want to give someone a raise, but then I'm like, how long can I just keep giving someone a raise? And I don't want to be holding back, a young stylist from taking flight in her own career by like keeping her captive as my assistant if that's not what she wants. So like, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's where it's just so nice to be open. And I would never expect anyone to assist me for, more than 2 years.
For their whole entire lives.
Yeah. That's not what you start doing hair for. Like you can enjoy someone so much and grow with someone, but at some point, like you want to take control of that. That's what we do as independent stylists. We want to have control of our own careers. So it was just nice. And I want to encourage people too, if you do have an assistant or if you're looking for an assistant and you get one and it's kind of not super clear at first, just take a time out, send a text or an email, like with the questions or the prompts that you want them to kind of think about or have clear with themselves.
Yeah.
And then, just
that is probably something that I would do through an interview process now. Once I had a video of them, I would send out like a template of, hey, we're going to schedule a call. I need you to have the answers of these questions just to give them a little bit of time to think. Though I do think there is something about having to think of it on the fly. I think there's some...
I do better when because I work like that. That's why when I was when we were setting up our meetings, I was like, these are the questions that I've asked myself. And it takes me a little bit of time to sit down and think about that kind of stuff. I'm not somebody, if you ask me where I want to be or what I want to be doing in 6 and 12 months, there's no short answer for me to do that too. Like, I really need to sit down and think about that.
No, I agree.
So I think it is good to ask them some on the fly questions too.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But here's the thing, you guys, especially if you are an independent stylist, which I know we have a really large, a lot of you are. If you've never been a boss before, it's okay not to know.
Yeah.
And that's
I didn't
the
know.
thing. Show yourself some grace, cut yourself some slack, and we're all doing the best we can here.
And it's okay to call time out and say, this is what I want now.
Yes.
I made a mistake. And I even apologized to Kelby. I said, there was one thing, I don't remember what it was, but I apologized to her because I was like, I wasn't clear about this because I didn't even know what I wanted from this, but I'm sorry that it was, maybe taken the wrong way or misunderstood because I wasn't clear. I took responsibility for that. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just say, I fucked up, man. I'm sorry. But like, this is what I know now. Yeah. And this is what I want moving forward.
So I think it's important to just set that standard, be clear.
And do the same for you. If you're asking an assistant, what are your 6-month, 12-month, 3-year goals? Ask yourself those same questions and write those down.
And I think it's important to share those. Now, granted, knowing that things can change. That's the other thing, you guys.
It's a loose template.
Yes, and you can't be so
rigid.
Like, you got to roll with the punches. So, other opportunities come up. You never know. You might take some class that makes you want to shift the whole direction of your business. You never know.
Right. And then you may need that assistant for another 2 years or something.
You have to be able to just roll with it and know, but it's a good idea to at least have those conversations. And then for me, after you have screened all your applicants, and listen, when I say all your applicants, you guys, if you get 5, that's great. Sometimes it's hard to find somebody. That's why
I'm terrified when Kelby's ready to because we have another meeting in May and then I think we have one in September where I'm probably going to really start looking for someone.
Yeah.
I am so terrified for what may or may not come my way when it's
probably going to start getting emails now.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, whatever. You guys know.
But listen, it's a good idea to start thinking in that direction ahead of time.
Don't be desperate.
Because you don't want to settle. That's somebody that is probably going to see you more than your children or your family. They spend so much time with you. Lauren knows my food orders better than I do from restaurants. She knows my credit card number. Like it's so great, but you do end up depending so heavily on your assistant
for things you wouldn't even think of. You have to have a lot of trust and a lot of...
Yeah, and so it's not somebody that you just want to I like her hair. She has a great smile.
She looks cute.
Her style's so good. If those things are important to you, fine. But
if they can't make a phone call for you when you need them to make a phone call...
Oh my gosh, how many times has Kelby pretended to be you?
She just called my CPA the other day and... she's like, hi, this is Hannah Davis. It makes me, I both feel terrible and so joyful when my assistant says, this is Hannah Davis.
I know.
I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now.
I know. I'm like, oh, thanks. Thanks for being me.
No, she called my CPA office the other day because I knew I had an appointment, but I had no idea what time it was. And she knew that I didn't know what time it was. So she just went and called him and asked what time my appointment was. But little stuff like that, that's one thing I love so much about Kelby. She likes
the administrative stuff.
She does. She likes talking on the
said that.
She likes talking on the phone. She likes keeping my inventory. I don't know if she likes it, but she does it really well.
Yeah.
Keeping my inventory really straightened and prepped and updated. She is phenomenal at that. I do not have to, if I ask her to call someone, she's not the person that I would be at that age that was I don't want to talk on the phone. She's like, okay, sure. What do you want me to ask them? Right. She takes care of it. She's not ever backing down from having a phone conversation with someone. And to me, I love that maturity.
Yeah, I agree.
And I need that support.
Yeah.
And I purposely feel like I saw that in her and I knew that would be a good compliment to me.
Absolutely.
So that's the kind of things I look for. So you have to know kind of your strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, I don't care if you're cute if you can't be an adult and get on a phone call.
Right.
You know?
So I then had working interviews where I scheduled a time for the people whose videos I liked, who I chatted with on the phone. I scheduled times for them to come in and shadow myself and my assistant Haley at the time. And
those are always going to be like kind of awkward and rocky too.
It told so much instantly.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Instantly.
Because you had her kind of work with Haley.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. So Haley's last job as my assistant was to train my new assistant. Her guidelines were, I don't want to be able to tell when you're done assisting me who colored what extension and who did. Like, I want this to be the most seamless transition, and this is going to make you better by having to teach somebody what you've learned. Because not only do you have to teach it, you have to explain why, because there's going to be a lot of questions. They've never worked with extension color, more than likely.
Or like even if I look at my tray setup, I don't want to see something that's off, and for me to know,
get used to.
Yeah, for me to know that like, oh, Kelby didn't do that, the new girl did, or whatever.
Right.
Like, they need to know how to set up a tray.
Yep.
What to do with the needles and the string, what to do with the extension color, like so many things, random things.
These are like funny things too that I never knew that Haley told Lauren until because honestly, Lauren was Haley's assistant for the first 3 months she worked with me. We would joke, like if I would walk past her down the street, she'd be like, oh my gosh, hi. And I'd be like, hi, what's your name? And she'd be like,
oh my God,
Lauren, I work for you. Like that was our joke, because she literally worked that closely with Haley.
Yeah.
But Haley would tell her things like, okay, don't be late. No matter what you do not show up late. She will lose her mind. She would rather you mess somebody's hair up. She would rather you burn the extensions down, like mess it up so bad, but just don't be late. And then she was like, Haley, it's like working with a tornado. She's like, but she really likes things organized. So she's going to come in and make a mess.
Fuck it all up.
But when she comes back, she wants it to be neat and orderly. Same thing with my tray. Like I'm going to mess this whole thing up.
I'm literally going to spill the whole thing of beads all over again. And I need you to pick up each individual bead. I'm so sorry.
Between my rows. Like,
and I don't do it on purpose, but like I knock some shit over because I'm focusing on this head.
Yeah.
And it just needs picked up.
So, and that was interesting.
Only
like,
put 2 knots on the needle and then a knot and a third knot. Yeah. It's so obnoxious.
So like, cause you get in your routine and then your assistant learns what you like. So I didn't want there to be a difference. But it was interesting learning later the things that Haley knew were important to me.
That you didn't even know.
I didn't know it, but she was like, these are things that she will lose her mind over. Just make sure you don't do this, or just do this well, and you guys are going to be great. But Haley was my first assistant ever. So we had growing pains where honestly with Lauren, we really haven't, because the standard was set right from the get-go. But as far as like, because I think this was like the question too, is like finding the right assistant for you. So
I think personality just matters more than anything. Like, finding
it's
someone
just clicking.
Yeah. And in my case, like I need someone who is assertive, who is like, I'm more of a type B in my organization. So I need more of a type A, someone who's a little more structured, set up, because I can't keep stuff like that together, because I'm just more creative in that way. And then I need someone who is more mature than people their age typically.
I agree. Yeah. So it's just clicking the personality. And then once you've decided who you're going to go with, have almost like a 30-day time frame where it's like, listen, we're going to give this a go for 30 days. If
any other job.
Yes. If either one of us decide this isn't working, this isn't what I was envisioning, it's like no harm, no foul. We go
That's
on
a
our
great
separate
idea.
ways, and you're not locked into some type of death trap contract. Like, no, like this is just, it didn't work. And we learned things through this 30 days that we wouldn't have necessarily known. So, I think that's just a huge thing. But honestly, you guys, if you are, and we've had so many social media marketing episodes, so many, it's almost painful.
And we talk about it every day.
Every day we talk about it.
Which it's important.
It is. But if you guys are doing your social media, I say well, but if you're just doing social media, if a little bit of your personality is on there, you're going to be attracting people who like you, who want to be around you, who want to learn from you. An assistant is no exception. You're going to be drawing people who automatically are like, wow, I feel like I could hang out with her, or this or that. My girls tell me frequently, they're like, I want to work in a situation like where you are. You guys look like you have so much fun. It seems so laid back. It's not this like, because I'm not treating them like horrible. Like they have their job and they own their roles within our business. And that part is so cool to see. You are going to attract those type of people through social media. And maybe if they're not following you, their friend might be.
Right.
Their friend's going to, and that's how Haley found me. She knew this girl who was like, hey, I think you should reach out to this girl. Like,
oh, that's how Kelby and I got hooked up. Yeah, it was like a mutual person. So it was like, I know you, I know Kelby, like you guys would be great.
Yeah. So those would be my top things.
Yeah, I would definitely start on like Instagram or
Facebook wherever you're more active, wherever you have, not more reach, but wherever you're more comfortable, honestly. Right. If that's Facebook, if that's Instagram. Now TikTok.
Yeah, I was about to say, girl, you better start dancing on TikTok.
You're getting down on TikTok.
But I think it's worthwhile too to start just like speaking it into reality. I mean, even just, you don't have to make a whole appointment about it with clients, but just so that they feel comfortable when a new or your first time assistant comes in, just start dropping it, like,
yeah, absolutely.
If you're like, hey, how is everything? You get into the appointment, like, they're like, how's everything going with you? And, you can just celebrate, be like, great, my business is growing. I'm really busy. I'm actually looking into hiring a new assistant or, a first time assistant. And even just saying that to them, that lights up something in them where if they know somebody, you might have a client that knows somebody, or even if they don't know anybody, at least you're planting that little seed with them. And so that maybe, the next 2 appointments when they come in and you have an assistant, they're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like they're excited for you. Yeah. They're not surprised.
That's so true. It's the same with like a new service
Yeah. And just present it as a positive because it is, and you're busy and that is awesome. But nobody likes to be surprised and honestly, not like clients would care at all. My clients literally are like, where's Kelby if she's not with me, at this point.
Mine are always like, is Lauren going to style my hair today?
Yeah.
Like, point taken.
I know, I get it. Yeah, rude. I get it. No, I literally last week, I was like, I have to style hair because I haven't styled hair. I mean, I have, but I haven't regularly styled my clients' hair in 9 months.
I know.
And I was like, I'm not butting you out of this situation. I didn't tell Kelby this, but I've just been finishing my clients out because I'm like,
I'm a little rusty.
Yeah, I have to keep doing this so that I don't end up not knowing how to style hair anymore.
Right.
But I mean, that's a good problem to have, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think your clients and whoever your potential assistant is are just people just like us and trying to get the best out of any situation just like we are. Okay. So I think as long as you're clear about what you want and clear about what you're looking for, and then clear with your clients about who you're bringing into their space and their appointment. I've never had anybody have any problems with me having an assistant or not having an assistant for an appointment where they've usually had me have an assistant. Yeah. I don't anticipate anyone ever having a problem with whoever I hire after Kelby,
right.
Because I'm very clear.
Agree.
And same thing with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're even thinking about it though, it's something I would go ahead and start advertising for and taking like applicants.
Yeah.
And then let whoever applies know, okay, I'm taking applicants for this 60-day period or whatever, if you want to extend it and give yourself some time to look. And then be very clear with how much you're going to need them at first to just figure out a groove and then move on from there. Because I only had Kelby with me like 1 or 2 days a week for probably 6 to 9 months. And then once we got into the suite that I'm in now, I was like, I need you every day at work.
Yeah.
Like, if that works for you, I'm sorry I didn't like ask you that before, but can you be with me every day? And she was like, yes, I can. So I think it's just communicating.
It is. And just being clear on what you're looking for. And, but yeah, I think finding who works for you comes back a lot to just
being yourself.
Yeah.
and like attracting what you are and what you want to, you know?
And social media is just a very powerful tool to do that.
Girl, it's so powerful.
It's taken over the world.
How are we supposed to utilize like TikTok like this though? I mean, we have to figure it out. Do you want to do a TikTok today?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Should we have a nice hair TikTok?
Yeah.
I still am trying to understand TikTok.
TikTok's whatever you want it to be.
I know, but it's so hard.
It's time consuming.
Yeah, Lauren and I learned a TikTok dance, and it took us the whole day.
Mm-hmm. But we don't necessarily have to dance.
But if you want to go viral on TikTok, you do.
I think you can do whatever you want.
So
maybe our assistants can teach us how to TikTok since they're younger usually.
Yeah, they're younger and way cooler.
Happy assistant hunting.
Yeah, good luck. If you guys, email nicehairpodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, we're on Instagram at the Nice Hair Podcast.
Instagram is just Nice Hair Podcast, yeah.
And then you can find us if you want to follow us personally there as well. So YouTube. Oh yeah, we're on the tube.
Oh, YouTube's the favorite. It's really the pirate booty of the whole entire situation. It's like hidden. You can steal it for free.
Oh, booty like the goods.
Yeah, pirate booty. Like stolen treasure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Totally. People are like, I have an Android. I can't find you. And I'm like, don't even look for the podcast. Just go on YouTube.
We're on Spotify.
I know. I told her we were on Google Play and Spotify, and she's like, oh, I found it. And I was like, you should have just
I don't even
YouTube.
know what either of those mean. Just kidding. Yeah. Okay, guys. Happy assistant hunting, and
we'll see you later.
We love you lots.
Bye.